Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to On Your Mental. This is the podcast that shares candid, open, and sometimes vulnerable conversations between and about men. This week's episode, we're talking about confidence. We've welcomed back Jesse Dawson, who was here just 2 weeks ago. He's back for a real topic. And we welcome back AJ, who's also been on the podcast. So hope you all enjoy this week's episode. If you can't tell, we got some new mics here, so hopefully everything sounds real good. Anyways, we'll see you in a minute when the episode starts. Peace.
Any questions about the questions?
Yes.
Actually?
I didn't read them.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's just all about confidence. So.
I don't read. It's just,
we established that before.
yeah, that's part of the confidence thing. Yeah. I think it's better if I don't read it.
Matter of fact.
that way I can't read it wrong. So when they ask me the question, I say I didn't read it instead of reading it out incorrectly. You know what I mean?
Big brain. Good thinking. Jess,
Hello,
very
mate.
short welcome back
Okay.
because you were back here just 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So welcome back again.
Thanks, man. It feels good.
Yeah,
I like
welcome.
it here.
And then we got this AJ guy
Hello.
back at it again with the white Vans. Damn, Daniel, you guys remember that one?
Damn.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I bought white Vans back in high school just for that.
I still have white Vans.
Yeah.
Was that in high school?
Oh,
sir.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Damn, Daniel.
Just for that video, Ellen had him on and gave him a lifetime supply of Vans.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yes.
wild.
That's insane.
What are you gonna do with that many Vans?
But here's the funny
Didn't
thing.
they donate them all?
But here's the funny thing. That guy wasn't wearing the fucking Vans.
I think they were both in it though.
Oh, the guy that came
Daniel, man.
on the video. No, they both.
Oh, wait,
they
they
were
both
there.
went on?
There was a guy
I think
filming,
Daniel.
and then the
Oh,
guy
okay.
that was. there was
Yeah, I think Daniel was on there too.
Daniel wore the Vans.
Yeah, Daniel wore the Vans.
I
Not
feel
the
like
guy
the
filming.
other guy made
but
the
the guy
videos.
was on
though.
Could you imagine the guy filming gets
Yeah.
the shoes? He's like, I'll never wear
I
Vans.
feel like he kind of deserves it more because he had whipped out the phone and did
Every
the
single
voice.
time.
Yeah.
Damn, Daniel.
I guess that is what makes it funny.
That is the funny
yeah,
part.
that is the funny part. Yeah.
Daniel.
It was
Oh, nails it.
yeah, if it
Anyways.
wasn't that guy, just be a guy filming a guy in Vans.
That's going
why.
damn
That makes
Daniel, and
sense.
that's not as funny. Yeah, it's the voice that did it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But anyways, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Today's episode, we're talking about confidence-related things. And so for everybody listening and watching, Jess, the last time you were here for a check-in episode. Today's a bit of a shift up from that. This is a real topic. So this is kind of back to our regular scheduled program. In the last 2 episodes, we had a check-in, then we had a little birthday one where threw it over to Cabs, and Cabs took me through the ringer. Anyways.
And then did you guys do a podcast?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, yo, can you just vape like that on camera now?
I didn't mean to.
So stoked for a second.
It's it anyways.
That was crazy. I can't believe you did that.
Everybody also listening and watching, quick update. We got some new equipment around here. Made
Mic
a
check, 1, 2.
significant upgrade on the microphone equipment, and so it'll probably take a little bit of getting used to figuring out placement and all that. Like, I mean, AJ here, not even touching his. Okay, that's better.
You were giving me like one of these earlier.
Well, no, more like one of
Come on
these. One of these.
One of these, like an inch.
Yeah, pretty
Should have
darn
kept the old
close.
ones. I think this is closer than the old ones.
But it's gonna sound so much better, and that's gonna make me feel more and more confident.
Oh,
About
excellent
the
segue.
content. So on the topic of confidence, I think that a lot of the time when you think about confidence and how it gets spoken about on the internet, YouTube, wherever you might be, a lot of the material out there is all just some shit like, here's how to be confident, 10 tips to be confident. But the reality is that you're not confident every fucking day in your life. You got some things that maybe you're not comfortable with. Maybe some moments, maybe it's long periods of time, short periods of time, little insecurities that kind of chip away at your confidence. But the point of us having this conversation today is to share our own experience around confidence, insecurities, and point at the fact that it's okay to not be confident. We're not here to say, here's 10 tips on how to be confident. We're here to talk about when we felt confident, when we haven't, and why. Because I think it's going to be different person to person, but I'm sure there's going to be some similarities.
Yes, sir.
So first off, when I say confident, what do you picture? What comes to mind?
I think being confident is when you meet somebody that's confident. It's someone who is very like secure with who they are as a person. I mean, like what their values are, their morals, what they're all about, essentially, right? So that way, when you're meeting somebody who you find confident, a confident person, when they meet somebody, they're not, you know, like they know what they're all about, right? They have a firm grasp on who they are. So they're not worried about what impression they're trying to leave or trying to make, because they are so comfortable with themselves. Like what you see is what you get. Like you're gonna like me or you're not, or you're not. You're gonna like me or you're
Right.
not. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just kind of like knowing what you're all about, not trying to be somebody that you aren't. You know what I mean?
Being very true
That's how
to
I see
self.
it, at least. Yeah.
I agree, but I'm looking at it as a different way, like someone that's kind of like taking risks and like putting themselves out in the open, like ready to be uncomfortable, putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, vulnerable. Yeah.
I'm thinking like day-to-day life, like you meet people all the time and stuff. Like you'll meet people who you'll think are confident as soon as you meet them, right? As opposed to like being confident and like jumping into the water from like 25 feet or something like that.
Right.
Like they're two different, right?
That's the way that I was thinking about it when I was even like posing the question.
You're
Was
thinking
more
about
shit
it?
like that. Like I'm confident to do shit.
Yeah.
That's funny because I thought of the question totally separately. I thought like we're going for definition. I was like, well, what would I be confident is when
Professor Jesse.
But like kind of like we were saying, when confidence is something that like it gets embodied in something, right? Like you can see that in someone, and that's how you would describe confidence. And I think that's I would say so. And when I think about confidence, I think of that like not necessarily like I think of the situations and the person I can see going through those situations, like going through that kind of like a brick wall scenario that maybe for somebody that would be not as confident in those scenarios, right?
But I do agree with your point as well, though. Somebody who's willing to take risks and make themselves comfortable, uncomfortable, and
Would that be like someone who's like overconfident then?
that's more like a situational
Right.
confidence. I feel like, or is that, you know what I mean? Like,
So hearing like both sides of that, it's like you can be confident. I was at first thinking in like an expertise way. Like you can be so great at what you do and that makes you confident in what you do. But hearing you say like confidence to take a step and like do something unknown, that I wasn't thinking of it that way too.
That was my
Which
whole
does take
perspective on
confidence.
it.
That does take
I didn't think about it
confidence.
that way.
So there's like confidence in so many different ways. And even before this, I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was fully just in
I
on
was
like
fully on my
insecurities and
side. I
security.
wasn't thinking about anything.
Man, I like that. I like that.
And I think it's interesting because I also think confidence in a slightly different way. I would say, like for myself, again, someone that's gone through, some, mental struggles and stuff like that. I think of something like being able to get up, get dressed, go to work involves confidence, right? You got to be able to believe in yourself, right? Be confident in your ability to do the job, number one, but go through all these steps and knowing that you're going to be okay and put together the pieces to have like a good day or something like that, right? So I would say it's also confidence there, right? Just to do the simple things in your day, which someone like, like you and I, that, it's easier for us to go through those steps for somebody that may be very taxing on their mind and they can't do those simple tasks, right? So I would say confidence there too, right?
yeah, no, I agree.
Do you think that ties in at all to what AJ's saying about how it's like your full
being
belief in
secure.
yourself? Yeah, your security in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Secure in your abilities, and I think you're right too. It could be something as simple as like somebody in their profession is going to obviously have to be comfortable in what they're doing, absolutely zen in the moment, right? Like full comfortability, if you will, and I think that's also very true, right? Like for me to do either my job, I know I have to be, when I go to make that sale or when I go to talk to that customer, you have to come in with confidence. You can't come in shrugged over and worried, because it's not going to go well, right? You can't stutter into a sale. So I think that's, it's confidence can be used in so many ways throughout a single day. You know what I mean?
So I guess that's like the situational confidence, right? Where I was thinking of a similar situation. Like you get a salesman who just knows their shit. You know what I mean? You walk into, I don't know, Sleep Country.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the different mattresses, the pillow tops, Tempur-Pedic, whatever it's going to be, man. And you're in there and I'm like, all right, I'll buy two because this guy knows his shit.
But again, he's confident because he's secure with
with the information that they're giving.
Yeah.
It's almost like a piece of confidence lies in you knowing something to be true.
Which ties into what I was saying.
Which ties into what you're saying about yourself.
So if you meet somebody because I know like this used to be me as well a long time ago. It still kind of happens. I'm sure it happens to all of you. But like when you meet somebody, you are slightly worried about the impression that you're going to leave. But I feel like if you're just completely secure with who you are, it doesn't matter what they what they're gonna get because they're gonna get who you are as
Mhm.
a person. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that
Yeah.
does make sense.
Yeah.
Like you're not worried about what impression you're giving off because you're always giving off the same impression.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think to maybe like touch on the piece about there has to be truth to something, I think that opens up the conversation to the idea of insecurities, because we're all seeing confidence as someone who is sure of themselves. There's a sureness to what they're doing, whether that be their morals, their values, who they are bringing to the table when they're meeting new people. Maybe that's confidence in a situation, a level of expertise from a person in a profession. There's different ways you see confidence, but all that comes from a level of truth in what they're doing. And I think when you talk about insecurities are those bits of doubt, right? They're little things that get sprinkled into your day-to-day life. And for some, there's a lot more, or some that are just heavier and bigger to deal with, a bigger burden. So the follow-up to what I wanted to ask about how we see confidence, I mean, I agree with you all, first of all, in confidence. I think that it all makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Confidence,
yeah.
we get a good general idea of what confidence is in our lives. But anyways, the question I wanted to ask about that afterwards is insecurities, considering the fact that they do chip away at confidence and can affect your confidence. Have there ever been insecurities in your life that you just couldn't shake? For me, I'll go first if it's all right. I have had periods of time where certain insecurities were like the insecurity on my mind. When I was a young kid, the insecurity for me was my ears. I had fairly large ears, and they stuck out a decent amount. When I was in high school, there was a period of time closer towards the end of high school where I was insecure about my weight for a little bit.
Oh.
I remember
That's a pretty common one, I'd say.
it's a common one. It's especially for
skinny
men,
fat,
right?
yeah,
Like
it
we get
And
that
women,
shit
for-
all the
for
time,
people,
and women
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But I think it's something that a lot of men don't necessarily talk about. I don't think that a lot of men point at the fact that we get told we're fat all the time, right? We get body shamed too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now, my latest one, and this has been lasting for the last, I would say, 2 years, and it's been bothering me a lot recently. And I think it's because I see myself on camera more and more,
Thanks
is
for
my
opening it up, man.
goddamn
What is it?
hairline. And it pisses me
Really?
off.
I think that's so funny because I wouldn't have thought of that.
Buddy, it's all I can see. And right now today, I tried to make a point of pulling this down a little forward so it's covering up the hairline, because the last 2 episodes, all I could fucking look at when I'm editing the damn thing is how high my fucking hairline
Well,
is.
it's always gonna be like that though. Like everyone's like no one thinks they're perfect. I mean, some people do, but they're fucking assholes, right? But it's hard to shake, but it's something over time that you need to kind of like the same way you get over your ears, you get
Yes.
over your weight. But obviously, you work
That's
out.
what I've realized
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that these things come and go. They're
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to shake sometimes, but eventually you stop giving a shit about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Eventually I trust I'll stop. The reason why I'm so freaked out about it is, one, I've never met my dad properly, right? I've seen a photo
What
of
the
him
fuck
now,
did you do to
right?
me?
This is the thing. I don't know. Like, am I going to be bald? Is it receding? Is it just my hairline has changed? Because Jesse, the guy who cuts our hair, Jesse's barbershop, he has pointed out, he's like, your cranium like shifts as you grow. Right?
true?
Like, yeah, apparently up until like 25, like your head continues to change shape. And so your hairline will just change. But nowadays, like I'm running my hands through my hair in the shower and there's hair coming out. I'm freaking out, man. And so it's just,
Does hair come out?
Freaking out,
there's
man.
hair little bits of hair will come out
Well, how much?
almost on every push.
I got hair coming out.
Little
all over the
strands.
place.
You tell me
But
about
like
this.
this for long enough, you'd be bold.
Yeah,
and
but like
shot.
one at a time, right? Like it's not.
If
like,
I go
it's not a,
through-
it's not a full.
It's
thing.
never a clump, but
Right.
it's sometimes now it's up to like 3 strands in a single.
Buddy, that's nothing.
You don't
Really?
that's probably
Nothing.
grow
I-
those back in like the next couple of days.
You've met B-Rye.
I met B-Rai,
Yeah.
Jesse's dad.
I've thought about that for a long time because typically I heard that for hairlines you're supposed to be looking at your mother's brother.
Oh, no.
mother's brother.
Yeah, your
Your Uncle
mother's
Tom?
brother. So
Mother's
your
brother or
uncle.
mother's father?
Mother's brother.
Oh,
Is that Uncle Tom?
Both
So-
of them are bald, man. Both my uncles are bald, dog.
Both of my uncles have been
Yeah, but they're
bald.
old, though.
Every picture I've seen from them, when they were in their 20s, have been bald.
Wait a
Oh,
second.
damn.
So I'm okay right now, but every time I go in the shower, dude, I'm losing clumps. So you're good. Don't worry.
Oh.
Yeah. But my hair's all tangled in. You know, I don't know if it's how long it's been there. When it fell out, it could have fell out months ago. It's just been locked in one of the curls.
Those are from
like,
a haircut weeks ago.
It could have been like there's no way for me of telling, so I don't really worry about it. I just go like this every once in a while. I'm like, still looks like 2.5 inches. Yeah, okay, we're good. So I take out the measuring tape. That's all. So that's how I keep it in check.
Damn. You take out the question, dude.
You gotta know, right? But
It is a shitty thing though, because a lot of these things, in your case at least, it's just genetic things.
Yeah,
You can't do
it's
anything
shit that's
about
so
it.
far out
Like,
of my
it's-
control.
Yeah.
You know, but it
because
still
it's out of
makes
your
you
control,
insecure.
it should,
Mhm.
it should make it easier at least in my head
Mhm.
to
Hopefully.
hopefully, yeah.
But
I'm not
anyways,
trying to,
no, you're not trying to say, "Oh, forget about it."
yeah.
I know, and I trust that one day I won't be bothered by it. But that's my question,
That's
which
what I'm
is like,
saying.
have there been things that you
I
haven't
think
been
it's
able to
normal and it's
shake?
fair to have those types of insecurities for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have there been things that you guys could not shake?
How big is 3 inches to you? That'll be the answer to my question.
Are you being serious?
No,
Mm.
I actually had like in my when I was much younger, in my earlier relationships, as much as I hate to admit it, but it was just kind of like I had like this nagging insecurity that obviously like I'm young. It's my first couple of real relationships. Just like the thought of like your girlfriend goes out without you, like what if something happens, like she being shady, something gonna happen, you're gonna cheat on me, blah blah blah. So that was kind of a thing in my early relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And just like now being older and looking back, it's just like and what helped me kind of snap out of that was I saw like a little snippet of a video. It was on like a podcast or a show. It was a little snippet. And pretty much what the guy was saying was that you never trust that nobody's ever going to betray your trust or hurt you or cheat on you. You just have to trust that you'll be able to handle it if they ever do. Because the thing with trust is kind of like, you'll never know if somebody's trustworthy until the day that they die, essentially, right? Like you put your trust in somebody, they live their life and they never betray you. That's how you know that they were truly trustworthy, right? Everyone's like, you know what I mean? Like they're trustworthy until they screw you over. So it's just such a waste
Innocence until proven guilty.
Exactly.
You know?
So just such a waste of time and energy and emotion is what I kind of realized to be worried about something that's absolutely beyond your control. Like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be shitty, but that's kind of what like kind of clicked in my head for me, and kind of what helped me shake that insecurity that I had.
Right. And
Really-
so that
really
insecurity at the
know that.
time, do you feel like that affected your confidence in the relationship itself
Absolutely,
too, and in
absolutely.
dating in general?
Yeah. Like I luckily wasn't the type to, like, oh, you're going out without me, like texting her nonstop. Who the fuck are you? Blah, 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 blah. It's just something that like kept nagging me, and it was just super annoying to have in the back of your head all the time because like I did trust these people and I knew they cared about me. And so like it just a waste of time to be worried about. Right. But that was something early on in my life that I had a hard time shaking. But now it's, it makes sense to me why I shouldn't be wasting my time. But yeah, that was one for me.
I've felt that before too in the past.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like you tell yourself as much as you can, like, that's ridiculous. If I was going out, I would want them to not be feeling that way about me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't feel that way about them. And it's almost like I would tell myself I can't feel a certain way,
Yeah.
even though like it's just happening. Like there's not a lot of like choice you have to feel that way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say an insecurity that's been a very long, lingering insecurity is just my school-like abilities. I mean, academic-like abilities. I would say, like, my ability to learn basic things and like math, different things like that. High school subjects, math, history, all that kind of stuff. Academically, I've always been insecure that I could never do those things, right? So in most cases, I wouldn't try. This is, of course, a little bit when I was in high school and stuff like that, right? But even to this day, I deal with that kind of stuff, right? I know I have a very particular way of learning, and I know it's hard for me to still be able to take in a lot of information. So I find that's been a really big insecurity because, of course, people catch it, right? You do spelling errors, like, who the hell spelled this?
Right. High school is a savage
And we'll
place,
still
too.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly,
We'll
right?
still
And
do
like,
that.
and like, you do. Remember, you ever do the peer assessments?
Oh,
Who
every
the
day.
hell wrote this? And, you're like, or like they asked, like, oh, does this count? And it's obviously,
those
and it's
ones,
obviously
yeah.
not even close. As like, was one plus one, and like, does 3 count? By Jesse Dawson, right?
Like, why the fuck you even ask the question?
Exactly. Why
knew?
even ask the question? You know it's 2. Like, just So
Yeah.
there's always been an insecurity for me in regards to something like that, right? I was diagnosed with ADHD a long while ago. I took medication for it. It was weird medication at the time that I was
definitely don't
taking.
agree with that. Yeah.
I didn't like it very much, but I found different ways of being able to learn, I think, as years went by. So that I can't say it's totally changed my confidence because I still feel like there's still quite a bit there that I'm unable to do, but I'll do something like take a course and I'll see
Yeah,
how
you
I
were saying
fare.
2 weeks ago you like aced it.
Yeah,
Of course you do.
I spanked it. I did a course.
Oh.
I did a course. What was out and doesn't matter. I did a course a couple weekends ago, and it was a 2-day course. and after the course, there's a practical exam, and then there's a written exam. It's not it's multiple choice. Anyways, you get a total of 4 exams. So there's 2 written, 2 practicals. I got 100% on one practical, 97 on that written for that portion of it. And for the second portion, I got I think it was 98 on the practical and 100 on the written.
I can imagine that having a insecurity around things like academic stuff would be a big, I guess, issue, considering the majority of your life, your young life is in school, right? Like you're there until you're 18.
Yeah.
Right. And unless you're pursuing education after that, like that's a long time, you know, either way. So I can't imagine it'd be pretty tough having to deal with that as a constant insecurity, and it affects your confidence in what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, though, you end up getting into situations where in the future you learn how you learn, right? You realize how you learn, and you realize you can apply that in a situation that maybe isn't.
Because I'd be like, I'm not in school, I'm not forced to learn anymore. I'm not gonna fucking learn anything anymore. I don't have a reason to. Props to you.
I just try to. I'm trying to get. I have one goal in life, and it's to get as many licenses as possible. As many as I can. So if we're ever in a situation anywhere, I'm like, dude, I got a license for that. I want to be that guy. You know what I mean? So that's why I started taking these courses, right? And usually a lot of these courses are just a couple days, whatever, at a time, which is fine, right?
I'm 25. I've lived a quarter of my life. I've never been in a situation where somebody needed a license. Somebody didn't fucking have.
True. Well, I got a motorcycle license. I'm trying to get a boating license, right? You know, if you ever went, that'd be a pretty good one. I have first aid license, so you know, hey, I'm like, this guy's hurt. I got a license for that.
I can't help him, but I got a license.
Rifling through his cards.
Is there a doctor? Is there a doctor in the room?
I got a license. But to be honest, when I was really going through it, the best things that I really had, the best and the worst things I had were my friends.
Of
Of
best
course,
and the worst.
Oh, of course, they'd fucking roast you for whatever, anytime, anywhere, right? But those were always the guys I could turn to if I needed, hey buddy, what were the notes? I couldn't write all of them down. You know what I mean? You go to your buddies, and they're not gonna fucking fry you when you're doing something like that. Usually, they'll wait till they get to the rest of the group, and then we'll do it together. Right?
It's not worth it if you're not getting a laugh.
Yeah, exactly, right? But no, but seriously, like for as long as I can remember, I remember when I was in grade 3 and I was having trouble doing the agendas and stuff like that. My friend Jonathan Ing, he would do my agenda for me after he was done his. Boom, done. Oh yeah,
That's so sweet, man.
It's just things like that, right? Me and AJ had each other in grade 5. That was good times, and it's all history, man. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just things like that. I think are really the backbone of what I am today.
Kaz, how about yourself, man? Any insecurities that you felt you just couldn't shake?
He has a stud, man. He's got
No.
Okay. Of course, man. Does anyone not have insecurities?
Yeah,
though?
everyone's got a million. Yeah.
But I mean, ones that just really stuck in there.
I feel like this is like a generic one, but like just afraid to fail all the time. Like I always remember being afraid to fail, whether it was like answering a question in class, like really early on in elementary days. Like I even remember a time where I was sitting beside one of my best friends, and it was like grade 2 or something, and I wanted to answer the question, but I wasn't sure I was like 90% sure if it was right. So I told him to say the answer.
I feel
it was
that.
like shit like that throughout
No, that's good. Yeah,
elementary, high school, like basketball. Like I regret so many like times like where I just didn't take the shot, or like where I just didn't want to be more confident and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's always stuck with me.
I should have sat beside you.
You feed him the right answer.
We would have been great together.
And then I start to recognize, hey, I'm giving them right answers.
I'm like, no, shut up. Give it to me. They're wrong, dude. No.
Man.
Oh, man.
Really? Like a fear of failing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What-
And that's an
probably the biggest
insecurity.
one.
I've never thought of that as an insecurity. I've thought
I
of it as
think,
a fear of failure. But
I was kind of like that too. I'm not sure if it's the same as you, but for me, it was mostly just kind of being shy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really think about it that way though, like the fear of failing, the fear of being wrong, or the fear of
Right. But like
Which-
that was like
yeah,
the biggest one for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I think
Mm.
it's like
Interesting.
everyday life. I feel like.
yeah, because I was very shy until like not even like till in high school, like till like maybe I was like 19, 20 years old. I was a very shy person.
Mhm. I remember you almost never spoke.
Yeah. Super shy
Never.
person.
Yeah, you get a word out of you. I was
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
shit.
And I think what I kind of realized is like nobody cares. Like who cares?
Mhm.
And if they do, who gives a shit? Like
Mhm.
unless it's like people who are close around me. Like for me at least, it was like I was worried about like I guess like being young. You feel like you have this rep that you need to keep up. You need to look cool. You need to blah blah blah. You need to like not if you try hard in school, you're a loser. You're
Yeah.
a fucking nerd, whatever, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's just like I do have those regrets too. Where it's like who gives a shit? Like why would you not
Mhm.
answer the right question?
Yeah,
Why would
but
you
I
not?
regret it so deeply though.
Mhm.
You know, like you're just it's like so insignificant when you look back at it. But like I really wish I had done so much. Like
I think in those
more.
cases where
Really?
it's like you feel so strongly about it, like the best you can do to make yourself feel better at least is just that opportunity is probably going to present itself again
Mhm.
sometime in the future, and then you need to be able to do it this time.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing you can do to make yourself feel better.
So do you regret
So the next
then,
time
like
you're in
a
class.
like a lack of yeah, when you re-enlist, get your GED. So do you like regret a lack of confidence then? Like regret not having confidence?
I regret not taking risks.
Mm.
More
Yeah.
risk, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were right in those scenarios. You just didn't
Yeah.
do the thing that you knew you could do.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's that whole confidence piece, right? Do you
Mhm.
feel now that you're like looking back, would you approach those things differently, right? Because like that regret tells me that you would look at it
Oh,
differently.
for sure.
that
Yeah.
you've
So if
changed
I
your
was to
perspective
live
on
my
it.
life over again,
Mhm.
yeah, it would be completely different.
Mhm. It's that kind of message of if I could live my life over again, you would do something different. Like that is a common thing in a way,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's like everybody has to learn the same lesson that people don't give a shit, that you can just take risks, do what you feel happy doing, and trust that you're going to be okay even if you did fail. Everybody has to learn that lesson some way or another, but that sucks to hear that that's stuck with you so deeply. You know, like that's tough.
And I think it's interesting that you say that you're scared to fail. I would say to a degree, when I say that, for my insecurity was, my ability to take in knowledge. Of course, I was scared to, I was more, I don't think I was ever scared to fail. I think
You
I
were
had
scared
failed.
to try.
I think I had failed quite a few times, and I think I was scared to try my best and fail. I think is what it
You
would
just
be,
come
right?
somewhere in the middle, yeah.
So I try to just trying to brush off and never would do my best, try to just skate by and just whatever, right? And then never really fully apply myself, maybe to get there. So that's
It's like when someone says, just do your best. But when your best still
Isn't
isn't
enough.
enough,
Why would
that
you
fucking
wanna,
sucks.
Yeah,
Very
why would you want to
discouraging.
try
Yeah.
your best?
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the truth is though, like, in order to, and it's super cliche, you've probably heard it before, but in order to, succeed, you're gonna eat shit a million times before.
Yeah.
But in order to eat shit, you have to try to eat. You have
Exactly.
to try.
Yeah, you gotta
first.
try to
Try
eat
to eat
shit,
shit,
man.
man.
Shit.
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Slap that on a bumper.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Wayne
Wayne Gretzky,
Gretzky,
Michael
Michael
Scott. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be too much of a bummer about all this stuff, but it's like, yeah, looking back, there would be things that I would change, right? I mean, thinking about those insecurities that I talked about, for example, my ears, who gives a shit? Who fucking cares?
Nobody
right?
gives a shit.
Literally, who cares?
Yeah.
Because some guy made a joke and said, do you get good satellite reception? Great joke, you asshole. But who cares?
Is that Sebastian?
No, it was dude, it was on the sandbox, dog. Like,
On
I
the
was grade
sandbox?
2, man. That
Bro,
sucked.
was that when
That's
you
a
were
good
clever ass?
joke
Was
for
that-
grade 2, man.
Was that when you were over at the whatever the other school?
Westwind. Westwind, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god,
Man,
yo.
shit's ridiculous.
That kid had big ears.
No,
Oh,
man.
okay. I'd be like, thinking
It's
the only
brutal.
way he thought of that is someone
What's his
said it to
name?
him.
We'll find him.
I don't even remember, man. It's blocked out of my
We'll show you
memory.
confidence. Mo.
But looking back on some of these insecurities we've talked about, you might look back at it and just kind of laugh, right? It's like, how could I have felt that way in some cases, right? I think superficial insecurities are easier to look back that way because, for example, we talked about stuff that you can't, that's out of your control. It's genetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking at my ears, the way that they were built, genetic.
Yeah.
That's stupid, laughable. My hairline one day will be laughable. I'll look back and be like, who cared,
But the
man? It
reason
was
why
going to
you-
happen.
The reason why you can look back and laugh is because when you at that point and you are looking back, you've matured enough to realize.
To realize it doesn't
Right now,
matter.
you're not as mature as you will be. You know, hopefully tomorrow when you're like, you know what, my hairline doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't fucking matter, you know? Or you fix it and you cover it up. Anyways, wear some hats.
Hair plugs.
The hair plugs. That's just crazy,
Transplant.
man. You guys see that?
Yeah, no.
I saw.
They got that shit figured out these days, though.
I know,
Yeah.
dude. They say start now before it gets bad. I don't know. Maybe we should just start.
Because
slap
like, when
on the
people-
Rogaine.
When people were getting hair plugs, like when it was first a thing, it looked bad. It looked like someone took like a stapler and stapled ant lakes to someone.
Yeah.
It was bad. But like if you look at like LeBron and like
It's getting better.
whenever like 2014 Miami days, his hair was already receding.
Mm.
In like 2016, 2017, fucking perfect hairline.
Yeah,
Now he's getting
yeah.
old, he doesn't
Clean
care, so you can
hairline.
see it.
Mhm.
But like they got that shit figured
Mhm.
out.
Remember,
Mhm.
he used to have the headband down here, and then it slowly
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
But that's funny that you point that out, though, is that even at that level,
Even at
I
that level, he's insecure
guarantee
about
that
the
was an
hairline.
insecurity and that
100%,
affected his
100%.
confidence, right? In the
Yeah.
way he presented
And people
himself.
forgot about it. I
And
don't even.
people
I can't even remember.
forgot about it,
Didn't
yeah.
remember about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody. Yeah.
Because he got on it.
Like, that's
People
Yeah, because he got on it, man. Get on it before it's too
people
late.
do tattooed hairlines now too.
Yeah. they do,
Yeah.
And that's odd to me.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
But the thing is, if you do that, that when you do get old and your hair is actually all gone, you're like,
Homie's still been squared off.
Permanently.
That'd be so
Yeah.
funny.
Thinking about what we've talked about so far and the fact that your insecurities at different points in life will eventually pass away. They'll be gone. They'll be out of your life. It's not a thing anymore, right? Would you say today that you're confident in yourself? This maybe goes more towards AJ's point at the start of the conversation around things being related to values and confidence and who you are as a person, who you are bringing to the table in your interactions with people. Would you say that today you're confident?
I would say I'm comfortable with who I am and what I believe in and what I have to offer to my friends and the close people around me. I'm confident in that for sure. In terms of what Kabir had to say about confidence and taking risks and being all these different things and being confident, I think I need to work on that for sure still. What's something funny about that?
Sorry.
No, but
We're great supporters of confidence here. Yeah.
no, I'm just joking. But yeah, so in terms of like who I am, I'm comfortable with who I am
Mm-hmm.
as a person. But in terms of, risk taking and, being more open to different things in my life and being more risky, being more vulnerable, I think I do need to work on that for sure. I think being 25, being still young in my eyes, I think I'm in a good place.
You're feeling confident.
Yeah.
Good.
Feeling good, feeling
Are you
confident.
feeling confident about your future?
Feeling confident about my future.
Sounds like it was.
In a sense, yes and no, but I'm confident that I'll figure it out.
Yeah. No. That's what. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
meant.
Confident I'll figure it out.
How about you both?
No, go ahead.
I think actually I've been thinking about it for a little while, but I think I've become a little less confident since COVID.
Since COVID.
Yeah, since COVID happened.
I feel like you're the type of person, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
that like needs, if you're without human interaction for an extended period of time, you kind of feel like you're,
Out of touch.
out of touch. Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
and you kind of lose that confidence if you're by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
like it's
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people like your friend Sebastian, who's been, working for restaurants through and through, right? When I know even at the worst, he was still seeing people coming through the door,
Sure.
right? Different people interacting, right? I went on 4 months without working. So that was a little weird, right? But I think Alan's absolutely right. Like I had times where I didn't see anybody other than my girl at the time, or my mother, right?
Right.
For weeks, sometimes months, right? And I think that was where being out of touch with that, even though I'm working around people, it was just a little different for me going out and actually seeing people now and trying to interact. I think I'm still cautious. I walked in here with a mask today, you know what I mean? I still don't know what the vibe is right now.
Right.
So I feel like me interacting with it, like if I wanted to even make a new friend somewhere, I think it'd be a lot harder for me now
Interesting.
than it was 4
Couple
years
years ago.
like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's way different.
I will say like being young in high school
Yeah.
and school in general, you're forced into a social situation, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to make friends. It's easy to be social because you're surrounded by people 8 hours of your day, right? So it's like once you're removed from that situation, and especially for you, I don't know why, but you moved to the middle of the butt nowhere.
Well, I worked there.
That's my job.
I worked there.
But I think that, Jesse, as long as I've known you, you've always stood out as somebody who's extremely social. And so that's something where, to me, I've always seen you as a confident person in social situations. So I find it interesting to hear that almost like losing those social situations made you feel maybe even less out of touch with those social skills, losing that confidence in your ability to interact with other people, right? And so that can, I guess, affect your overall confidence, because that, and tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong, your ability to be so social, to me, seems like a very pivotal thing to your character and who you are as a person, and would affect your confidence overall, like your ability to do that. Does that make sense? Does that sound right, doctor? Or accurate?
I would say so, because it's, like you said, I've always been very outgoing, making friends, or either knew somebody in the vicinity, right? And
I hated it. Every time we would go out, we'd
mall.
go to the mall or something.
Right?
This fucker would see somebody he knows. He's always stopped to say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then Seb got to a point where we'd be doing that, and he'd go, "That's one."
That's the one. No more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those. But like things like that, it's funny now. I feel like I'm almost, when I go to the mall, I'm throwing on a hat, shades, my mask, and I got my hood on, man. And I'm like dipping by people. I'm like, oh, there's Kabir. Shit.
I don't want to say hello.
But it's funny because I actually do. I'll walk around the mall with like I'm Kanye or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think it's just the social interactions now. I'm trying to edge my way back in there, but coming right out of COVID, I was like, oh fuck, I don't know who I should be talking to, how far I need to be able to talk to them. You know what I mean? It was weird.
Yeah. So pivotal to him.
The whole new world out there for you.
How about you, confident guy? You feel confident today in your life?
I'd say I feel more confident in myself. I still feel like I have that insecurity when I'm like meeting new people, where I need to it's definitely better than before, where I don't need to make like a certain impression, but it's like I'm actively trying to be less shy in the interaction. I might want to pretend like I'm being more confident. Yeah, one thing I noticed is that if you pretend to be more confident, you kind of are being more confident. You're practicing confidence in that
100%,
way.
100%.
So you do have to throw yourself out there. But I do think I'm more confident than I was before, but always actively trying to be better.
Yeah, good.
Do you guys find yourselves, can you confidently talk about yourself? Like, do you think, like,
in what sense?
I'll give an example.
I do have trouble doing that. So
I'll give an example. The other day, it was really sweet. I was at the local Cactus Club. I was sitting
very local,
having
very local.
I was having a drink, and a guy came up to me, and he comes up and he goes, "Hey, are you Reuben?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Reuben." And he's like, "Oh, I watch your podcast." And I was like, "No fucking way." Right?
No way.
This random dude, don't know him. His name's Pav. He comes up and he introduces himself and he says, "Oh, he watched my podcast. He's from Toronto. He was here visiting for a week." Shout out to Pav. He's here visiting for a week. He's seeing his cousins. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know how to talk about my podcast. I don't know how to talk this up. Like, I don't know what to say. In my head, like, I'm immediately getting so like panicky about it. I'm like, oh shit, like somebody watching my stuff. Like, I had zero confidence in that like split second of how am I about to present myself and who I am to this person who has seen my work. It was a weird feeling, and that was my first time experiencing something like that.
I think in a way it's because you're still, you're still, up and coming. You're still working on it, right? So you haven't really truly established that. So it's like a first time thing for you. And I'm sure for every big, podcast, every big outlet, whatever big person there is in the world right now, their first time was probably exactly like that, where they're not,
oh shit,
they're not fully confident in what they have going right now, which is fair because you're not as big as you want to be, right?
But I find moments like that, it's like having to talk about myself. I find that like weird. Sometimes,
I do that.
How did you end up going through that?
Oh, I talked for a second. I said, if there's any stuff that you ever want to hear, like DM me. I bought him and his cousins a round of shots. I came over and took one with him, and I fucking got out of there. I left so quick. Man, that was interesting. But anyways, just the reason for me asking that was
talking about
yourself is kind of a weird thing too, and I can find that when you're making an impression to be related.
I had somebody recently, I forget who I was talking to, but somebody like asked me to like tell them about myself.
Like a job interview. Tell us about yourself.
Which, oh, by the way, fucking, you ask that to people you met for the first time? Psychopath.
Wait, was
Out
this
of a job situation?
First time and you're, hey, like, tell me a little about yourself.
was this what sort of situation
I forget who I was talking to.
Was it a random person?
It was somebody I met for the first time.
Oh, that sucks.
Like, what was the setting?
I don't remember.
It wasn't a job interview, and that means it was inappropriate.
Exactly. It was nothing professional. It was nothing like, you know.
Okay.
And I was like, my name's AJ. I would do this for work, whatever, blah, blah, like beyond that. So in my head, I was like, do I not like, is my life like boring? Like, do I really have nothing to like tell people right now? Like,
I feel like it could also be the way you interpret the question as well.
No, but the fact that I had a lack of information to tell this person was kind of like, but at the same time, it's like, why are you asking me this? You want to know my hobbies? You want to know what I like? Like, I mean, like, so in a way, I was kind of like, two things, like, I hate that person. I don't know who it was. You're fucking weird. But
don't ask that to anybody.
Two, it made me think. I'm like, you know, like, is there really nothing going on in my life right now where I have an interesting conversation? Like, am I not interesting? Like, am I not? Do you know what I mean?
I think
in reality,
I've felt
like
that before. Yeah.
Yeah. In reality, it's like,
who cares?
Fuck that, dude. That's a vague ass question.
I think you should have thrown it back at him, man. I think you should have been like, "What do you want to know?" You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm not telling
who's
you.
Asking?
Who's asking? Yeah.
Is your badge showing?
I don't know who I was talking to. If you're watching this, fuck you.
Is it for you or your friend?
Man, everything that we've talked about today,
right?
I think we can all view confidence in different ways, which I thought was very interesting. But ultimately, it's like it's a level of assuredness in what you're doing or who you are, depending on the circumstance, right? You had a fear in a way of failure in scenarios, and that was an insecurity that affected your confidence to try things, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. For people listening, I'm talking to Kabir. For Jess, you had an insecurity growing up around academic prowess, if you will. Use a big word, throw something at him. You know that one, buddy?
Oh, come on. Come on now.
You're throwing a lot of big words at me right now, and I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
But you had that insecurity growing up, and that affected a lot of your day-to-day because that's so much of your life growing up. Now, as you've grown older, you've learned that you learn differently, and you're now applying that, and you're excelling. You're doing new things. You're advancing in a career. You're getting licenses. Right? You know? And then, AJ, you were talking about confidence from a perspective of values and who you are inside and the impressions you leave.
Self-esteem.
Those confidence pieces you talked about in terms of relationships, and how in early relationships you found it a little bit of an insecurity in trust, in trusting that the other person isn't going to wrong you or betray you in some way, right? But that confidence piece comes as you grow older and you realize these things are all going to be fine. You can try new things. You can trust your partner. You can learn, you know? The question I want to ask to end things off here today is, looking back 5 years, let's say 5 years, what would you tell yourself at 20 years old about confidence and insecurity to make yourself feel better about confidence and insecurity?
Who cares?
Nobody
gives a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just be you. Do whatever you got to do. Granted, like when you're young, you don't know who you are, but you know, like moving this around.
It's okay. These ones don't pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just like stop worrying about like how you're gonna look in class if you answer the right question. Don't worry about if you miss the game-winning shot. Don't worry about you know.
You should.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
just who cares? Just like stop worrying about what other people think.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of the 10-year test? I think, is it 10-year test?
It's a long test.
A mental 10-year test for yourself. You ask yourself a question: will this matter in 10 years? And if the answer is no,
forget about it.
Who fucking cares?
Easier said than done.
Easier said than
if
done.
it's something you can,
if you can ask yourself that, if you remember to ask yourself that in a moment where you're like, oh, fuck, this is terrible. This isn't going well. Yeah. Is it going to matter in 10 years? No. You're all right.
What I think is kind of scary, though, and like it kind of happened with our generation, like just the beginning of it, but it's definitely happening now, is that I think a lot of people's self-esteem and their confidence comes from like social media these days.
Mm-hmm.
It ties into social media these days, where it's like, you know, like, am I not doing enough? You know, people are on vacation right now. People are getting these new jobs. People are like, you know, people making it big on like social media, YouTube. They're influencers now. Am I not doing enough? And it's just kind of like, it's kind of dangerous for like the younger generation, because they feel like they're not enough because, you know, they didn't get enough likes on their post, or, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. What I can say to my younger self and to younger people right now is just like, nobody actually gives a shit.
That stuff doesn't matter.
But what's kind of scary though is I feel like people do actually give a shit these days.
maybe
He's peeling it
Maybe.
back. Peeling it back.
Yeah.
But actually, that's just in high school though. Like after high school, they'll realize that themselves. Like people might not be cool in high school right now because they are like sub like 500, 1,000 followers right now.
That's crazy.
That's probably a thing right now. Those are the same people when they get out of high school and they realize, you know, they don't make it in the social media world, influencer world.
That's not a thing.
They'll realize it's not a fucking thing, right? So if people are worried about that right now, don't fucking worry about it. Nobody gives a shit.
I think that's solid advice. We talked about it earlier that you kind of have to learn that lesson yourself in whatever way. But yes, you would tell yourself at 20 years old, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody cares. Jess, Cabs, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago relating to confidence and insecurities?
I think that's a toughie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you ever, like, again, standard rules of time travel. Just
Can't mess with it.
Can't mess with it, man. Otherwise, I think, because I'm like right here, right now. I'm in a good spot with good people, right? And whatever I've done, the confidence that I've had, the confidence that, you know what I mean, that I had to, you know, be here or do anything like this has all come from the last 5 years and things that I've done and things that I've learned. So I would say, hold on tight, bud. You're gonna be in for a wild one.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Exactly.
Take it away, Ern.
Yes. Oh no.
Man.
Yeah. I would just say, man, listen, just keep doing what you're doing. Things are gonna be all right. But yeah, hold on tight.
Hold on tight.
Just
I think if I was looking back 5 years, or maybe with you looking back 5 years, I would tell the Jesse, yo, look at this guy. This guy did just fucking fine.
Exactly.
You know, you could point at the fact that insecurity, especially if we're gonna be specific, let's say about the insecurity around academic stuff, didn't fucking matter.
No.
You're all right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So keep her going.
Keep her going.
Just hold on tight.
Hold on tight. Hold on tight. Keep holding on.
Yeah.
Kabir, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago? I guess you're a year older, so 21. Grandpa.
You guys are the same age right now, though, no?
Yeah, for like a couple months.
Yeah. 5 years ago?
Mm.
I don't
How
know.
about just like you younger self?
Yeah, younger self. So I remember one of the things my oldest brother told me was in elementary school, and he said it again when I was in high school too. So when I was in elementary school, he was in high school, and he said, nothing you do in elementary school will matter in high school. And then when I was in high school and he was out of high school, he was in college, he was like, nothing you do in high school is gonna fucking matter. So
Yeah, and
it just carries on. I'm realizing it just kind of carries. Other than like how you advance your career later, and
you gotta follow to your job,
friend.
After you're done here,
Like-
it's not gonna matter.
I fuck with that though. I get that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like other than your career and like your friendships and the relationships you build,
Yeah.
all the small shit doesn't matter. Like 5 years later, I think 5 years. So
And it doesn't.
yeah, like
It
anything
doesn't.
you're insecure about right now is not really gonna matter 5 years
ago.
later.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a cool thing on TikTok. It was like some psychologist dude. If you're ever having those moments, you're in bed in the middle of the night and you're thinking about that stupid thing you did fucking like years ago, and it's keeping you up at night. All you have to do is you look up, you open your eyes and you look up, and then I guess your brain can't like process the fact that like you shit yourself in 10th grade in front of the class, and feel bad about it at the same time as looking up. So then it just goes away. I haven't tried it myself.
Because you realize you're just here.
Yeah,
That's
so-
not happening anymore.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Really?
interesting.
Yeah, so if you're having like a panic attack about something stupid you did years ago.
Well, it's like breathing with panic attacks.
Yeah. You look up and then it kind of like slowly dissipates and it goes away.
Mhm.
I'm just like constantly looking up.
Yeah.
What's Kabir doing that?
He's just trying to forget. I had panic attacks are crazy, and that can relate to confidence maybe in some situations.
I had a couple of those.
I had a panic attacks only once, but it was marijuana induced, so not really the same. I was trying to cut out, the little poop veins in shrimp. Like you cut out the intestine, right? I was trying to cut that out while high, and I was like so focused, and my heart just started racing, and I was freaking out. But anyway,
that's a weird time. That's a weird time.
It was a bad time to be doing that, man.
You just went wanted on that on the freaking.
Like, were you on a time crunch or something?
Yeah, I was stressing out about
beating
it.
his visions.
The island right there. It's a fucking rule.
Oh man.
I like what I'm hearing, and I'm gonna say a kind of similar thing to my younger self too, right? Which is, if I were telling myself at 20 years old, I would tell myself that every insecurity I have then, you are not going to have 5 years from now. Because if I look back 20 or 5 years, not a single thing I was insecure about is the thing. I used to be insecure about public speaking, couldn't do it, couldn't talk in front of a group of people, no fucking chance, and that came from high school or friends. As soon as I start talking in a group, oh, yo, why are you so red? Go fuck yourself. Right now, that's not a thing. Here I am. I'm hosting a podcast here, right?
Exactly.
I'm talking to people all the time, and sure, I might go red once in a while, but now it doesn't matter. So I would tell myself the same thing, that in 5 years, these things that you are worrying about are not going to be a problem. And this is a quote that is not fully related to this, and it's something I want to have a discussion with later, but I think it can apply to what we're talking about today at a personal level. It's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. He says, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." That obviously has nothing to do with our personal self-confidence, but on the same vein, the trajectory and the arc of our lives is long, and it will bend towards you being happy and confident with yourself. Trust that it will, because the only thing that keeps moving is time. And so you might be in those moments where things are seeming like these insecurities are just eating away at me. I can't do anything. I'm not worthy. I'm not confident in what I'm trying to accomplish. You're going to be. It's just a matter of time.
There are things that literally only time will heal.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
And so I think that's the theme in all of our things that we would say to our younger selves, is that it's not going to matter in a way that's not nihilistic and, oh, nothing matters. But just, it's not going to matter. These problems that we think are so huge are not, right? We are going to be okay. And we're going to have new problems later. And you can fucking deal with them then, but you're going to be more confident, and you're going to have the ability to withstand those issues as they arise, right? Anyways, how do y'all feel about our confidence today then? Our confidence conversation here.
I mean, good. I'm the same as I walked in.
Confident.
But
I stay the same.
Yeah, no, different perspectives about how, like, what Cab was talking about, it is a little bit eye-opening. I do need to take risks, and I do need to, make that leap of faith in some situations in my life, and I should be open to doing that.
But the point is, too, that it's okay to not be confident.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, it's normal. We're all going through it.
Yeah, because there are things where things will eventually pass, 100%. But at the same time, confidence does stem from security, and you need to build that security sometimes. Like for your public speaking thing, for example, you've done how many episodes now? Like dozens of episodes.
50. Now. This is 51.
And that's why you're so comfortable. That's why you're not blushing right now. It's because you built the confidence, you built the security, and you're comfortable doing it now. So, which ties into taking that leap of faith. And once you make that leap, and then you build from there. You make that effort to be more open to conversations. You make that effort to be more outgoing. And then from there, you're like, oh, that kind of worked out well. It didn't work out well. What do I need to do different?
I like it.
I feel the same way. Like, if you're able to, it's gonna be okay to be not fully confident in anything that you do.
Be okay.
Right? It's totally fine. Just whatever you're going through at that point in time, whatever you choose to do at that point in time, just make sure you're putting your best foot forward and you roll with it. Right? Go in, do it, and
hold on fucking tight.
Man. We're going in. You know what I mean? And just ride the wave.
I love it. Boys, thank you so much for taking the time to come in today and having this conversation. I enjoyed it. It's funny when you bring up your insecurities, they feel even less of a big deal once you talk about them. It's once you get them out in the air, you air out your dirty laundry, you know? Mm-hmm. And so my hairline, no problem for tonight. Tomorrow I'll be bothered again. But for now,
5 years from now,
no problem. A buzz cut.
I'll be bald.
Toupee. Top hat.
Top hat.
Yeah, we're just gonna rock baseball caps from now on.
Dude, I'm gonna say this though, for anybody else who's concerned about hairline stuff, it is a myth that wearing hats will kill your hairline. The truth is,
I googled it.
If you do wash your hats, you're fine. If you don't wash your hats, it's actually the bacteria that builds up.
Oh, I don't wash my hats.
That erodes your hairline.
You wash hats?
Oh, really?
I certainly do. I wash my hats after every 2 wears because I'm so paranoid about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't wash any of my hats.
That's crazy.
2 to 3. 2 to 3. The toque is probably a 2 wear. Maybe a
2 to 3
wear.
is still a 2 for him.
Anyways, everybody, thank you for listening and watching. I hope, especially for our audio listeners, that maybe things sounded a little better. Well, I mean, no. I mean,
Spotify.
It's like Spotify and Apple Podcasts versus YouTube. I hope that things sounded real clean today with the new mics. Otherwise, I'm going to feel real bad about the money I spent. Anyways, we'll see y'all next week with another episode. Peace.